Picture this scenario. You've just pushed through a rough month at work, grinding long hours flipping burgers at your neighborhood fast food joint. You're lying in bed when a notification pops up. Your paycheck says $2,000. You open your bank app and see only $1,456. You scroll through the breakdown. Federal tax, state tax, Social Security, Medicare. This is the modern ritual of watching part of your earnings vanish into systems you never see, while being expected to accept it quietly. Here's the reality. Taxes are the admission fee for living in an organized society. You contribute, and in return the government maintains infrastructure, supports education, enforces health standards so your favorite food spot doesn't poison you, and launches extremely expensive weapons at places you'll never visit. But not all taxes function the same way. Income tax applies to what you earn. Sales tax applies to what you buy. Capital gains tax applies to profits your investments make while you're not paying attention. On top of that, most people also contribute to Social Security and Medicare. Social Security is essentially a forced retirement savings plan. You pay into it now and receive benefits later. Medicare functions as a health insurance system that supports older individuals and those with serious medical needs. Then comes tax filing season. This is where things get interesting. The government already knows what you owe, yet still requires you to calculate it yourself. If you're accurate, everything's fine. If you're not, penalties show up fast. Some people pay taxes throughout the year, others settle up annually, and then there are the ones who ignore it completely and eventually star in cautionary documentaries. Taxes are frustrating, no question. But there's a trade-off. Countries with higher tax structures often provide better overall living conditions. Banks. You walk into a bank, hand over your cash, watch the teller count it, smile politely, and confirm it's been deposited. You leave thinking your money is now resting securely in a vault somewhere. In reality, it's already being used. Most people assume banks exist primarily to store money. That's not their main function. Banks act as intermediaries, connecting people who have money with people who want to borrow it. When you deposit $1,000, the bank might lend $900 of it to someone financing a jet ski. This model is known as fractional reserve banking, which depends on the assumption that not everyone will withdraw their funds simultaneously. Except when that assumption fails, like during financial crises, causing the system to buckle. Banks earn profit by lending money at higher interest rates than they pay depositors. You supply capital. Borrowers create demand. The bank sits in between. They encourage deposits because digital payments are convenient. Interest acts as an incentive, and storing money in a bank is safer than hiding it at home. In the United States, most deposits are insured up to $250,000 per person, meaning the government guarantees that amount even if the bank collapses. Interest. Let's say you borrow $1,000 and eventually repay $1,280. That extra amount exists because of interest. Interest is the cost of borrowing and the reward for lending. When you borrow, interest is the fee you pay for access to someone else's money. When you save or lend, interest compensates you for waiting. There are two primary forms. Simple interest applies a fixed charge. Compound interest is far more powerful. It's when interest earns interest on itself. Miss a credit card payment with a high rate, and suddenly the balance grows faster than expected. A small purchase snowballs into a much larger problem. On the other side, compound growth works quietly in your favor when investing. Over long periods, modest returns multiply into substantial wealth. This is why interest fuels both financial growth and financial collapse. If you're paying it, reduce it aggressively. If you're earning it, let time do the heavy lifting. Interest serves whoever controls it. Inflation. You open a bag of snacks and notice it's half empty. You check the price and realize it costs significantly more than last time. That's inflation at work. Inflation is the gradual decline in purchasing power. Your money still exists, but it buys less over time. Prices rise quietly, without dramatic announcements. Inflation can occur when too much money circulates and demand outpaces supply. It can also result from supply disruptions that increase production costs. Expectations alone can drive inflation. If people anticipate higher prices, they spend sooner, accelerating the process. A small, predictable inflation rate is manageable. Sharp increases are not. When inflation spikes, savings lose value and wages lag. Governments attempt to cool things down by raising interest rates, making borrowing more expensive and reducing spending. Recessions. A recession occurs when economic activity declines for an extended period. One moment everything feels stable. Then layoffs begin, markets fall, and uncertainty spreads. Businesses cut back, Consumers reduce spending, and financial optimism fades. Recessions can be triggered by high interest rates, global crises, health emergencies, or natural economic cycles. Think of the economy as a party. Eventually the music stops, the lights dim, and reality sets in. Recessions don't last forever, but they leave scars. Recovery follows, though rarely without pain. Credit scores. A credit score is a numerical judgment of trustworthiness. It determines borrowing costs and approval chances. It's not a measure of wealth, but of reliability. Scores range from poor to excellent, based on payment history, credit usage, account age, credit variety, and recent activity. Paying bills on time is the most important factor. Ignoring your credit damages opportunities. Managing it responsibly opens doors. You can have no debt and still struggle if you lack history. The system isn't perfect, but understanding it gives you leverage. Money. Currency only works because people believe in it. A dollar holds value because society agrees it does. The same principle applies to all forms of money. Governments issue it. Central banks regulate it. People exchange it. Too much issuance leads to inflation. Too little restricts economic activity. Money is a shared agreement built on trust. Investing. Investing allows money to outpace inflation. Instead of trading time for income, you deploy capital to generate returns. Options include stocks, bonds, funds, and real estate. Success isn't about luck. It's about consistency, diversification, and patience. Markets fluctuate, but long-term growth rewards discipline. The greatest risk isn't volatility. It's never participating at all. Value. Value exists because people assign importance. Gold isn't inherently superior to stone. It's valued because it's scarce and desired. Wealth flows toward those who create perceived value. Products, services, brands, and expertise command compensation because people are willing to pay. Understanding value creation unlocks income potential. Time. Time is finite and powerful. Most people exchange hours for wages. Others learn to scale their effort. Investing amplifies time more than anything else. Wealth accumulates slowly, then accelerates. Ordinary incomes paired with patience can produce extraordinary outcomes. Time isn't optional. It's the multiplier behind every financial result.